I got the Sony a6300 horribly wrong. I actually bought mine back in summer of 2018 after my good friend Ben, from the Lover of Tech channel by the way, managed to convince me to sell my GH4 and upgrade to it with the promise of better low light support and good video autofocus. I spent the next 2 years forcing this little thing into being a professional video camera as I worked my first long-term videography job at Android Authority, and I also own my own YouTube channel. The a6300 is meant to be a sort of compact hybrid stills and video that mostly focuses on stills, and I was trying to use it as a videography powerhouse, which meant needing to attach false batteries, external plates for larger cells, additional microphones, and also bigger and more malleable screens. And it was, quite frankly, immensely frustrating. The thing I used every day to do my job just wasn't up to the task, and instead of saving up for a new camera, I just carried on trying to make that one work, and in hindsight, it really wasn't the optimal tool for the job. It would overheat on hot days shooting Ultra HD video, the batteries were far too small for an all-day shoot, the video itself was pretty blotchy and the colours weren't great. To be honest, this wasn't my biggest concern because image quality, I don't really care too much about that. But I remember despising the SD card slot being in the same compartment as the battery door, because then on my tripod it meant taking the whole thing off and then getting to it, instead of it just being an easy slot on the side. The micro HDMI port, I hated it because I would just constantly snap the little connectors on the cables. It also lacked in-body image stabilization, which I believe the a6500 has, and now more recently pretty much all of them have. The a6300 didn't have it, and that camera is a pretty sick little hybrid camera if you use it for what it's meant to be used for, with a normal battery, a proper APS-C lens, and you're mostly taking photos with a little bit of video chucked in there and aren't reliant on your income coming from this tiny little camera. In fact, I probably would have got on better if I wasn't trying to just constantly rig it out to be what it was never meant to be. If I instead put a normal APS-C lens on it, like the Sigma 16 1.4, and just bought a few more original batteries, I reckon I'd have got more out of it than what I really got out of it, which was putting massive full frame lenses on it and then using dummy batteries and all that kind of thing. Did you know that these bodies still go for like £400? It's kind of insane to me just how well these things have held their value. I paid a similar amount for that when I bought mine, well over 5 years ago now. I feel like it was pretty decent value when I bought it, and 5 years later, it stayed basically the same price. And I should really be more thankful that it managed to do the job at all. That little camera, and I really do forget just how tiny these things are, it felt like it went to hell and back. And the truth is, it helped me build my career. It taught me about the exposure triangle, lighting, audio. Its shortcomings were great obstacles to overcome, and actually, I've probably become a better videographer because of those shortcomings. It just didn't feel at the time like that was the best thing in the world. Could really have done without the headaches of using this particular camera, especially when I was on a time crunch trying to fill out NDAs that weren't the same time zone as me and stuff like that. I could have really done with something just a bit more reliable, but that wouldn't have posed the same challenges. Towards the end of my ownership of the a6300, I hunted for a new camera basically all the time. I tried the Fujifilm X-T4, which the company lent me. I liked the dials and its style, but it didn't really fit the pro video kind of thing. Lumix also sent out the S5, which I really did quite like, and it was very promising, but I just wasn't sure, and maybe that was a bad move in hindsight. Maybe I should have gone with that one. And I even had a brief go with the Zcam S6, which, whilst really, really cool, just wasn't that intuitive to use, which made sense, and I moved on from that. In the end, I did move on to the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera at 6K, and you've seen that on this channel before. Ironically, I only moved on to that camera after I left Android Authority, after I was a full-time videographer. It was a huge upgrade in terms of image quality and buildability, but it also kind of shared a lot of the shortcomings of the a6300, the battery life, needing to sort of rig it out, use an external screen, and of course that wide form factor, while some people really like it, I just never really got on with it. You know what, I kind of feel bad for getting the a6300 wrong. If one day our paths cross again, I'm going to make way better use of that autofocus and killer little chassis for an underrated little APS-C travel photography camera. The moral of this story is use the right tool for the job, because you don't get bonus points for picking the wrong one.